How can we make something look cinematic without using light? I'm Marco Bagnoli, I'm a cinematographer, and after watching this video, you should be able to shoot something like this. This is the first image we're looking at, and I will show you several steps they did to make this simple shot look more cinematic. First things first is color contrast. We have in this area this deep blue colors and a little bit of orange on the other side. Color contrast should be something you should know. It's where when we have the color wheel, blue and orange are on opposite sides. So they contrast each other very well and they look amazing together. But how do you use it to make it look good? But you can put everywhere this blue and orange colors. They have to make sense in the scenery. And this scenery where we have a lot of nature, it just works because the world is looking like this. What we do as a cinematographer is we use these real elements and push and squeeze it in a little bit of a different direction to make it look more special or transport the emotion of the scenery. This is a really dramatic and emotional commercial. So what we do is we put the saturation and the exposure really down. If we check this on a waveform monitor, I think nothing is above 60 IRE. This is a really dark shot. And this is the next thing you should consider when you want to make a moody look outside. Put your exposure really down. So you don't have to always put skin on 40 to 60 and the sky should be at 80, 90, and just be a little bit flexible. Want a dark look? Make it look dark. A lot of movies, when you check the waveform monitor, they're not even above 40 IRE most of the time. The skin tones are around 20 because this gives the audience the feeling of real darkness. The contrast and that the image pops you get with color contrast, setting, lenses. These are the techniques you use that your image doesn't look flat even though your lighting area is very small. As you can see, we have here a lot of elements. We have this bokeh in the foreground. We have an almost silhouette feeling with the horse because we put the highlights and the sky so down. You check on the clothes of the people, they have the pretty same color as the leaves around here. So we get a two-tone color look around this whole image, and I think it looks really good. Here's a close-up from the same scene, and as you can see, the image is really dark. I will put the waveform for you here that you can check how dark actually the scenery is. When you're shooting your next project, make some tests at your home. Put your brightness down and we'll see it will look a lot better than you think. Perfect exposure is not what we do as a cinematographer. We make the right exposure for the right feeling. The most important thing also if you want to create this look is keep your highlights. So that's the reason you have to shoot in log. So dynamic range is important. One of the most important aspects when you're shooting outside with no lights, because you need the most control. Because then you can, when you have everything in your area, you can boost her skin a little bit, can make her clothes darker, can push the sky even more down. But to do this, you have to keep your darkest parts of the image and the brightest parts of the image. That's the most important thing. Also, what you can do in ads like this, always put your camera a little bit more down and shoot up. Because with this technique, you separate the actor a lot more. If your camera is on eye level, she would be on the same height as these mountains, so the image she wouldn't separate that much. So always think about it. Try to put your actor behind bright spots. Same as in this shot. As you can see, we have really dark feeling, but because I'm around the window, I still pop and get separated even without a backlight. Here's another example, like I said before, keep your highlights. It's not bad if your actor is in a silhouette shape. Also, when you're outside and have no light to bring his shape in, try to frame your shot a little bit better. Here it's literally you put your actor in a frame with leading lines. All these little aspects help the audience lead the view with all these techniques that the people will look where you want them to look. And I have often the feeling people are really scared of silhouettes, making their actor really dark. but it's a technique they use a lot of commercials, movies, and so your actors really, really dark most of the time. Another nice thing you can do is fog. Fog in your outdoor atmosphere gives a lot of emotions and depths into the frame. You know, here's through great fog like this, it's not done with a hazer. You really need a big fog machine or more than one fog machine on a generator to create this outdoor. But when you have the opportunity to do it, try it. It really gives a lot more character. Even in bright daylight, you have a couple walking through the woods when you like this and you have your sun coming from here. It's a really bright, shiny day. When you then add a little bit of smoke so that you get this nice sun rails and the deepness lifts a little bit, the shadows, you get a lot more interesting shot, and it also feels more full. It's not as empty like you're just a dude with the camera. You're really pushing the image and making it more unique, because this kind of face is something interesting for people, because that's not something we see in our usual life. This motorcycle scene is the next scene I want to talk with you, and I would shoot something like this. You want to make the bigger area with your white balance, the correct color. So I would choose a really high white balance to get this deep blue color across the frame that would make this color a bit more neutral. But for me, I think it looks better to make something neutral, more warm than cold. So, and the area is also bigger. So I would consider, because when you're just shooting on the right balance, this would be warm and this would be neutral, or the other way around. I would always choose the bigger area to prioritize my white balance to get the correct color, and then would probably do a mask in DaVinci and put a little bit more warm color into it. When you're working on RAW and with a good camera, a good codec, working linear color space, you get a nice clear result without a lot of artifacts, and it will look really natural. And as you can see here, also how dark the image is. Like here, such a huge vignette, there is no information at all, which also is not bad. You don't need all of the time all information. It helps, but what's the most important thing in this image? Him. Is there something else interesting in this shot? No. So you don't need all the stuff. You only want to see your motorcycle, the driver, and the energy that gives the scene. And with this huge vignette, we really get put into the scenery and we focus a lot more at this motorcycle. If you like more cinematography breakdowns, I really would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. My name is Marco Bagnoli and we'll see you next time.